Picture this: three library staff members trapped inside the South Charleston Public Library. Aaron, Toby, and Josh, each with divergent tastes, tasked with watching each other's films. Can they survive with their sanity intact? Find out on Real Opposites, a library podcast about movies.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Real Opposites. I'm Aaron,
I'm Josh.
and we
Tobey.
are back to discuss another episode of My Choices.
Another.
Way to
But,
brag.
we are back for what is our holiday episode that will be released January 1st. And we did Trading Places and Gremlins. And I think we're going to jump straight into Trading Places.
All right.
So I chose this one. I've never seen it. I have now. I had never seen it. And it was just on a Christmas list when I was looking up movies. And that's honestly why I picked it.
So what did you think?
Yeah. First time watching it.
Well,
Oh.
I'm going to think it's probably not the normal thought, but I did not enjoy it.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
I was excited about the cast.
Mhm.
Definitely people I think are funny. I think a lot of it was I couldn't get into it.
Mhm.
And I think some of what kept me from getting into it, which we've discussed many times, movies are of their time, but was like the blatant racism
Mhm.
and all the racist jokes.
Mhm.
I think for me, it's that type of joking is too real with the current state of the world,
Mhm.
and that still being an issue, that I think that took me out of it a good bit.
What I mean, I don't think they're like the jokes are necessarily
I mean,
like mean spirited in a way that's
they also don't use good language.
well, no. I mean,
I
that's
mean-
how. I mean, the whole point is you're seeing these rich yuppie people like what they really say, which
Right.
is
Mhm.
probably not changed a whole lot
Right.
Yeah.
when they're
I
together.
get that. I mean, and that's what I
I
say.
mean, that's part of the like the part of the thing I love so much about the movie is that it's
Mhm.
like it's this funny movie was two of the best comedians
Right.
Mhm.
you know the last 50 years, but it's also like a really scathing send up and satire of
Mhm.
you know uh,
The rich.
Wall Street and rich
Yes.
and like
Yeah.
they're the difference between poor and rich and
Right.
Right.
And I mean, there was definitely funny parts. Don't get me wrong, but I think for me, for some reason, they were mediocre funny, and I think it just didn't have enough pool as far as the jokes to overcome this part of the storyline I didn't like.
I can kind of get up to both perspectives. I think the movie is very, very fun. And I like, especially with the political climate being what it is right now, and all the whole like class divide being really
yeah.
highlighted is great.
Right.
Like that's a great thing to like kind of talk about at this time.
For
But
sure.
I also get, because I'm this kind of similar to Aaron, there is for me, even when it is kind of even when it is like showing these people are bad because they do this thing, there is some part of me that's still uncomfortable with like certain language and stuff, and it kind of turns me off. Like Django, for example, right? Like obviously, he says the N-word because he's a bad guy, right? And it's
well,
meant
they
to,
say it
like,
because that's just how they spoke.
that's how they spoke at that time, but it's also like it is mostly the villains using that kind of language, right? So like, and I get that. Like I understand why we put it there, and I understand like things are part of their time and it's meant to be, but still me with like it still makes me uncomfortable to hear,
Right.
like it sometimes those things are uncomfortable to look at, and that doesn't make them not valid choices. It just can kind of it can take me out of like a humorous
Right.
vibe, and which I like I said, both things. Well, we talked about it last week with Drop Dead Gorgeous and
Right.
using like the R word all the
Yeah.
time. That one kind of hit like
And
it's funny, but it still like hit me. It's I don't know that there are very few things I kind of have that kind of visceral, like I don't love hearing
Yeah.
that reaction too, and that's one of them for me. So I kind of get it from Aaron's perspective there too. Not that I think, again, movies are a product of their time. I still think this is a great comedy. I do understand like that criticism a bit, like, you know.
Well, I mean, I
Really
think
weird
if you're
about.
watching this in 1983, and Ralph Bellamy and the two brothers talk, behind, to themselves about
Right.
Eddie Murphy and like, what they really think.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I think it would have. It's that the intent is for you to be like, wow,
These people suck.
Right.
what a POS.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
So I mean, I don't think that's changed. I think
Well,
what,
I
what
think
Landis
that's
is generally good at is like being a little bit of a provocateur within the comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like, and the best comedy is the comedy that makes you feel uncomfortable. I think.
It is, but for me, it has to just happen a certain way. For some reason, this just didn't hit that certain way where it was. And like I said, to me, I think the movie was mediocre funny. I don't know why. I expected to belly laugh through the whole thing. I mean, honestly, I did. I was very surprised by how I feel about the movie.
Okay.
But I think where it was mediocre funny to me, it wasn't funny enough that those make you uncomfortable situations became more than just uncomfortable, if that makes sense. Like with Drop Dead Gorgeous, I love that movie. I think it's hilarious. It was easier. I think there was always something funny going on, and I think it was easier for me to overlook, like the use of the R word and things like that. I think on this one, just where I wasn't finding it as funny, I think it was just harder for me to separate that as a joke, if that makes sense. And I mean, as far as comedy, stand-up comedy, I love it, and I love when somebody's edgy and they touch on, actual subjects, and there is, I mean, that's what comedy's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I 100% get that. For some reason, this movie just hit me wrong, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's still grounded in some sort of a reality of like this is how this is how the two different classes live.
Right, for sure. And I
And-
get
I mean,
it.
like in that respect, it's like it's a real movie. Like it's not just
A
a
comedy.
series of gags.
Right.
Like there are gags and there are like you set up and payoff and and the comedic timing, especially of Eddie Murphy.
It's great. Yeah.
He was. There's you watch like this and Beverly Hills Cop and like Coming to America. You really see like why he was pretty much the the biggest comedic star at that time, and his timing is just perfect.
Which this was just his second movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
Which is crazy. I mean, because he's so good in this
yeah,
movie.
and I mean I don't think he was on SNL very long. He might have just been on like a year or two.
I don't remember, but I don't think it was long.
And so he just pretty much went straight from there into movies.
Yeah.
And-
What was his first? Was it?
I did like seeing that the Randolph and Mortimer come back in Coming to America, which I, and having never seen this movie, wouldn't have.
Right,
Like,
I
didn't
didn't know
know
that. But
that
that is
where
a
those
cool
characters
little
were
Yeah.
from,
fact.
like, yeah.
It's been years since I've seen Coming to America.
Me too.
Although I did watch that awful sequel they did.
Oh, I never watched it.
It was. His
Yeah.
first movie was 48 Hours in
Okay.
'82, the year before,
Okay.
which was a big hit. Him and Nick Nolte.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like doing the Lethal Weapon thing a few years before Lethal Weapon, like the buddy cop.
Yeah.
Which I mean is not like a new, even then was not like a new trope, but
Right.
it was it's a really good contrast between the two of them. But yeah, I mean, you look at like Trading Places, Beverly Hills Cop, Golden Child, which was a bit of a flop, and Beverly Hills Cop 2, which is a great looking movie, and Coming to America was a huge hit.
I personally, I see it from here, like Vampire in Brooklyn.
I remember liking that too. I haven't seen it in like 30 years, but I remember liking it. It's
I
Wes
think
Craven.
That one's fun.
I don't think. I've seen
It's very, very fun.
that. What was it?
Vampire in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what?
I think Angela Bassett's in
I've
that
seen
as well.
parts of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It was I mean, I remember that being pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nutty Professor,
Mhm.
Bowfinger is probably still my favorite movie.
I haven't seen that one.
This and Bowfinger.
Yeah, I don't
With
know
him
that
and
I've
Steve
seen
Martin.
that one. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I get it. It is a good contrast. It does show you how people are. I think for me, just in my current life and how life is currently, it was a little too raw.
Mhm.
I mean, just didn't hit right. But I mean, I'm still glad I've seen this. Eddie Murphy's great in it. I absolutely loved him in this movie.
Mhm.
I love Dan Aykroyd's like when he's suicidal.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and when he's
that was funny.
So it's been years since I've seen it. And I still vividly remember like when he takes the fish
Mhm.
out of his jacket and
Yeah.
is like eating it with his hair from the Santa
Beard,
beard.
yeah.
Yeah.
I remember it was just like gag. Just
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
Okay,
that nasty fake hair.
And it made me laugh so hard when he was dressed up as Santa and he was trying to frame Eddie Murphy's character.
Yeah.
And he was like just pouring like every drug in the world into the drawer. And it was like clearly obvious that he had just done that. And he still tried to be like, look at all these drugs.
An
Yeah.
obscene
That scene
amount
for me was
of,
hilarious.
of drugs.
It's like
And it's
uppers,
like,
downers, it's like everything.
Right. It was
Yeah.
everything.
If
And
you're this poor, where are
it
you
didn't even
getting
fit in the
that?
drawer.
Like, drugs are expensive. They're just not like free on the
Yeah.
street. Like, where are you getting these?
Yeah, like watching it again, like it's still I thought it was even funnier than I remembered it being.
Yeah.
Um,
And that might be something. If I've rewatched it, maybe it wouldn't hit as hard. Because I
Really?
would be like aware that it was going to happen.
yeah.
I don't know. Honestly.
The only thing that didn't really hit as much for me this time was like the whole subway thing where they're all playing their characters.
Mhm.
I was like, this kind of feels, because I mean, I for whatever reason I remember the movie being shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not. It's like close to 2 hours. It
Yeah.
runs a
Yeah.
little long. So I like if I were like in the script, like I would probably just
Remove
condense that or make
Mhm.
it something a little bit more.
Exciting.
But I know it's still fun, but it feels like it's a little bit from a different movie. And then
Yeah.
the whole ape thing doesn't really work. The gorilla,
Yeah.
but it worked funnier when I like that more when I was a kid
Yeah.
versus now. But everything else about the movie, like when they're on the stock exchange and they screw over the two guys, the
Yeah,
two brothers,
at the
and
end,
everything.
or towards the end.
It's a great comeuppance, and I'll have to watch Coming to America again just to catch them.
Just to catch them.
It's like
Yeah.
homeless people.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. And now, like, it's so like there is something about that that's like kind of on the warm and fuzzy side, like watching these guys who had nothing better to do with their lives except for just mess with someone
For
Yeah.
a dollar.
for $1. Lately, I Joe and I have been watching the videos where like the stupid kids doing like dangerous or mean pranks get what's coming to them.
Oh yeah, those are
And
rewarding.
those are real rewarding, and that's kind of like what the end of this felt like, right? It's like
Right.
you just see these guys who have nothing better to do than literally like ruin people's lives over a
let's
minuscule
make
amount of
content.
money.
Yeah.
And it's just it is nice to see that happen. Not that like I don't know, if you're that rich, you're not that stupid. So it would be like usually in terms of how to manage your money, or someone else is managing your money for you. So it seems unlikely that you'd be able to like bankrupt someone via some insider trading like that. But they do their best, and I like it. It's a fun fairy tale.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
Fun American fairy tale.
It is. It really is. Like it really does. Like tickle that eat the rich thing that
Oh yeah.
I love.
It's got like, and we talk about this being a Christmas movie, right? Like it does kind of almost, it touches on like, a Christmas Carol in a way. There's a little bit
There is.
Dan Aykroyd's character learning a bit about like what the other side lives like, and what this, kind of getting that same education that, Scrooge gets from the ghost, except in this case, it's like, here's what it's like to live on the streets. And of course, it immediately makes him want to die. And it's like, that is the reality of like so many people.
Yeah.
And like, you making these like snap judgments about people and stuff with all of your money and your power is what creates like kind of these situations. And so it's like, I think that there's part of that that's good too. And then, having learned and teaming up with him at the end. To, like,
Yeah, I mean, that's like when he's like going to blow his brains out.
Mhm.
They're standing there in the rain in the Santa suit.
Mhm.
I mean, because we know he's not going to do it.
Right.
So we can laugh, and I laughed, but there is a inherent truth to that. Like when you're
that desperate.
Right.
and poor, and like you don't have anything, and you don't see a way out.
Yeah. And
Yeah. That's what I mean. I just think the movie works on a lot of different levels like that. It's funny, but there's more going on underneath the surface.
And I would think, especially coming from like a position of like the kind of power, money, and affluence he came from, like suddenly having all that ripped away, really not having the skills to survive on less, right? But also not but also realizing how sad it is that these people around him now, like the prostitute, that have had to develop this like kind of
thick skin,
like thick skin, scrounging for things, and just how sad that is that in order to like kind of support the way that he lives, there's all these people living this other way.
And I like that it's like the alternate version of Scrooge, like you say, except in this one they don't or like maybe like more like It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
What's his name? Cratchit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like instead of like they just take all this money.
Right.
No.
Like instead of like him being
like ghosts. Or
yeah.
like
He
that.
just like
Instead of him learning. Yeah.
Instead of him like learning to be like a decent person, all the poor people were just like, we're just going to take all your
We're
money.
just gonna take
Right.
it all.
Screw you. You're a terrible person.
Yeah. But Dan Aykroyd's character was one of the wealthy.
He was,
He's
yeah.
learned what that means.
Yeah, so it does. It does like carry through like to like Christmas, like iconic Christmas stories.
Yeah, it really does.
And service them in like a very modern comedic, like just no sympathy for the rich.
Yeah.
No,
No, like
I like
kind of
that.
commentary on the. I mean, except of course, at the end, our heroes become, incredibly wealthy or whatever.
Well, you like to imagine like they're gonna do something with that.
You like
Yeah.
to.
I would think. I would think they would.
You hope that they're gonna do something with it. That's
But it's also like the '80s, so we're in the Reagan era. So really,
yeah.
it's you could. But I mean, this is like for that era. This is a pretty kind of daring movie in a way for like a mainstream comedy with two of the biggest comedians at the time. Because this is the era where it's like if you have money, you're good. Money good.
Right.
If you have a lot of stuff, good. Buy more stuff.
Yeah.
Get take your Hulkamania vitamins. Just
Yeah, it was like the whole idea, like
you get a new truck, that's good. Like
Yeah.
that's the whole reward at the end of Back to the Future. I love Back to the Future, but it's very steeped in 1985. Like
Right.
the truck will make your life better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Consume more.
Well, that and like the idea that like you have things because you're wealthy because you did something to deserve it, and it's like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality of it is, I mean, we can look at what is it, Rudolph and Mortimer here.
Yeah.
Like this is how it's always been for them.
Yeah,
So, like there's no appreciation for like how much they have compared to like everybody else.
Oh, I mean, I love when they're like tipping their server or whatever, and they tip him like $5, and he's like,
Oh, yeah.
"That's from both of us."
Yeah.
And the look on his face, like, I love little moments like that where they're just treating the people that are waiting on them or
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're just treating them like shit, and then I just love seeing their comeuppance. It just makes it so rewarding. This was like just so we talked a lot about the rest of the movie, but like we also have to talk about I guess this is like Jamie Lee Curtis's first non-horror movie for the most part.
Yeah.
So this was the movie that she made to get out of that, to like break that pattern, because she had made 6 horror movies in a row.
Yeah. And they actually had a hard time selling her to Paramount. And sadly, the thing that sold her is the fact that she would take her top off. But I just found it sad that was the reason that they ended up taking her.
Yeah.
And then she also said that it's...
I mean, she felt less exploited.
Doing horror movies because they'd never asked her to do that. And this was the first time Hollywood had asked her to do anything. So, I mean, overall, like I said, I can recognize that this is a funny movie. I can see why so many people do like this movie. It was on a list of like best... I forget how it was, but
Unconventional.
Yeah,
Christmas
best
movies.
unconventional movies, something like that.
Yeah.
And that is why I picked it. I personally didn't like it as much as I was expecting to. So both of you enjoyed it?
Yeah,
I mean,
I loved
thumbs
it.
up?
Yeah.
Yeah, a thumb and a half.
Thumb and a half?
Thumb and a half.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it. And it's two very enthusiastic thumbs up for me.
I would give it like a half.
A half
Half
of
a thumb.
Yeah,
So
so
one, two,
four
Yeah, we have four
thumbs.
thumbs.
Four thumbs
thumbs
altogether.
up.
That works. I'll take it.
Yeah. So that's Trading Places.
Hey, you picked it.
I
like
did.
that. You
I
picked
did.
something you hadn't seen. I like that.
Yeah, I've, you know,
He's run out of things he's seen. He's just picking things he thinks he likes now.
I've found that I also just enjoy watching things that I think I'd like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we have like a certain prompt, like this was our holiday episode,
Yeah.
instead of doing, just the typicals, I wanted to do something different.
So I'm guessing you've seen Gremlins, but maybe it's been a while.
So, yeah, I mean, if I have seen it all the way through, it was when I was younger. I could remember a couple things, but as I watched it, I realized there was more things that I did remember. So I'm going to guess that sometime in my younger life, I have watched it all the way through. But as an adult, this was my first time watching it all the way through.
This is a Christmas staple for me. I love
Yeah.
Gremlins.
Yeah.
And it might become a staple for me. I fully loved this.
Yeah.
This one was fun. It was different. It was, it was just something really different. And I really was able to get into it, and I liked it a lot.
I love, like, just from the off, like, it's so solidly good, like, kids movie. The dad with his, like, crazy gadget that he's made, and he's, like, trying to find his kid a Christmas present. He walks into the shop, and it's just, like, sees this little critter, and is like, that thing would be awesome. All right, well, I'll trade you this for or, like, and the guy's like, you don't want this. You do not want this. And it's a mogwai, which in Cantonese means a demon.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's just like, it just from the off, it's perfect horror movie. Everything that you're told not to do, everybody does.
Yeah.
And it's just, and poor little Gizmo is just trying to be a good little mogwai, and everything goes wrong for him. He is high key my who I think is actually the main character of Gremlins is Gizmo, who's just like, no, don't feed them, no water. Like,
Yeah.
everything's going wrong, and then the Gremlins end up in New York.
Yeah.
Gremlins 2 is great.
I meant to watch Gremlins 2 as well
I almost did.
But-
I didn't, though.
because I remember liking that one a lot more when I was
Okay.
younger.
I want to watch it. It's
But I just haven't seen it in forever.
Now, does it happen at Christmas time? Or is it
I
just...
think so.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
It also has Christopher Lee.
I think it is the next year at Christmas or something. Like,
Okay.
I honestly
Can't
don't
remember.
I
I
mean, I
think-
know it came out like maybe 4 years later.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if they like place it. the
some
year
kind
after.
of company. No, some kind of company has bought like the Gremlins. If I remember correctly, the plot is loosely they've bought like a mogwai and from the boy,
Yeah.
and they're like trying to make them like the next toy or like Christmas pet that people buy.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then
kind of remembering that.
and then everything goes awry, and you've got the one that dresses up like Frank Sinatra, and you've got like the one in the like lipstick and the big hair. It's so fun.
Oh, yeah,
Gremlins
that's
2
true.
is
That's
very
from the second
stupid.
one.
Um,
I need to watch the second one. I don't know that I've ever seen it. I've seen pieces of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, watching this made me really want to watch the second one.
I think I'm gonna have to do that. Maybe I'll watch it tonight.
Great call with Spielberg on that part, though, making because originally the Mogwai was just gonna be mean, and he was like, "No, we need a good gremlin."
Well, you need to contrast it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
You need one that's not an actual like demon that's
Yes.
terrorizing everyone.
I did see that one of the studio notes to the director and Steven Spielberg was that there were too many gremlins, and Spielberg suggested cutting them all out and just calling the film People. Like, what a great response. You go,
Well, I mean,
Spielberg.
he's Spielberg.
Yeah.
He is height of his power.
Oh,
when
yeah.
they're making like he's made Jaws, Close Encounters, E.T., Raiders. Like he can do no wrong. I'm pretty sure the only reason he didn't make this was because he was making Temple of Doom.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing we even got this movie. Like this movie got as popular as it did, though, because it was released the same day as Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the
Yeah.
fact that it has like it was able to be like picked up and like has stood the test of time is amazing.
Yeah, I mean it was very successful.
Mhm.
Like
Yep.
not as successful as Ghostbusters, but still, I think probably because it does have the Christmas thing, it probably played into the Christmas season as well. Because I'm pretty sure it was a summer release.
So the Gremlins rules are what? Don't get it wet.
Don't get it wet.
No feeding after midnight.
No bright lights.
And no bright lights.
lights.
But the no bright lights, I just saw this in the trivia. It was very
Yeah.
exciting. Is because so that no one noticed it was a puppet as
Yeah.
much.
smart.
Like it's pretty
Very smart.
I mean, it shows the Mogwai not like the bright lights, but none of the bad things that happen with Gremlins happen because of the bright
yeah.
lights. They just
Yeah.
But that was so smart to just throw that in as an extra thing. And I saw that
Yeah.
they do that in other movies as well, sci-fi movies. And I think they mentioned The Howler or Howler.
Howling.
the howling.
The Howling. Joe Dante also
It's
made
The
that.
Howling.
Yes.
I met him
that
last
one.
year. Super nice guy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
awesome.
The Howling special effects are potentially scarring. They're very good. They
Yeah.
use darkness, but like the Howling, I
Like
think-
that came out the same year as American Werewolf.
Mhm.
Between those
Right.
two movies, I mean, American Werewolf from a makeup perspective is more
Yeah.
impressive and holds
Yeah.
up better.
Yeah.
But the Howling still looks. They both take different approaches to like how the werewolves.
The Howling is jarring in a way and grotesque. I find a little bit.
Yeah.
I know some people that like still have nightmares about the Howling. American Werewolf, like that's a really nice transition, but I feel like
Yeah.
like the Howlings is a little more.
It's a little gooey.
It's a little gooey. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
hit.
I mean, the thing I appreciate most about Gremlins is the kind of Looney Tunes
Mhm.
aspect to the whole thing. Like
Yeah.
it's just it's a fanciful little mean spirited little fairy tale.
Right.
It
A lot of
is.
fun.
Yeah.
And it feels like the Wizard of Oz. You got like the gripey old neighbor lady that wants
Yeah,
to kill his
yeah.
dog. It's just
There's a lot of
yeah.
like Christmas tropes.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my
she's
gosh.
definitely like a Scrooge,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
And
kind
I
of
was-
character.
I was blown away by some of the things that I forget what the other one. Oh my gosh, that's what it was. One that blew me away was when she was like, "I will take him to the vet and put him down. You don't want me to get a hold of him because I would do way worse and I would torture him and he'd die slowly." And I was like, "Whoa, that's intense," because I didn't expect it from the movie.
It was
And
a
then
kids movie, and she's just out
Yeah.
here threatening to torture a dog.
Yeah, and then the other part was when when Kate was talking about her dad.
Oh yeah,
She's
yeah,
like,
her dad.
I don't love
Her,
I don't love Christmas, and when it comes out why she doesn't, she's like, there was my dad went missing, and then there was a horrible smell on our chimney,
Mhm.
and then he had broke his neck and he was
That's-
dead, and
It's a great monologue.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
She really sells that too.
Yeah.
She did.
Uh,
It was good, but it was like so serious, but yet so odd
Mhm.
in this movie that it was. I mean, it was hilarious. It
What-
was great.
That's what I like. I mean, generally, you don't see so much anymore. Like movies, like took more chances. And,
Yeah.
like really, like tried to do like it was like this isn't just like. I mean, it's Gremlins, but it's like it's not as one note as I feel like if you made the
No.
movie today. Like it would just be
Yeah.
okay. Let's
Yeah,
set up, and then we
there's
get the Gremlins, and then we just got an hour of hijinks.
Yeah.
Um,
That is what I liked about this. It caught me by surprise a couple times
Yeah.
with stuff like that. And I also was excited to see Judge Reinhold
Yes.
Yeah.
in here. He eventually goes on to play Santa Claus. Well,
In
not
the- in
play
the
Santa
Santa
Claus. In the Santa Claus, he's like the snooty therapist stepfather.
Yes.
And I don't know. I guess to me it was super cool that he was also in this Christmas movie.
As a young fellow.
Yeah, very young.
I like. I always forget. Like, I don't know. I also like the trivia for this is just fun because like we haven't talked a ton about the actual movie, but like and everybody's seen Gremlins. I've seen Gremlins 19 times probably at least in my life. But just that the crew hated the Gizmo doll so much because it broke constantly that they had a list of horrible things to do to Gizmo, and that's why he ends up on the wall with darts being thrown at him.
It was one on the list.
Yeah, that was one of the things on the list.
I just like how mean it is.
Yeah, it is. It's
mean.
Like
like
their gremlins are like they're vicious little
they're
bastards.
mean.
they're very mean spirited, but it's in such a funny way that it really
Yeah.
pulls it off.
I mean, they just come up with a lot of creative things for them to do.
They
Yeah.
did.
You know, and it's like it's gruesome too. Like when they like I can still see like the face melting off and
Oh
like,
yeah, when
like
it's like
all
the
that stuff's like
skeletal one.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
Gross.
It's so
Yeah,
cool
it was
looking.
amazing.
The lab, all of the lab like sequence.
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
loved. It also
Yeah.
reminded me a bit of like Jurassic Park. Like it has that kind of like you're stuck and you're trying to get away from these like kind
Yeah.
of feel, and you don't know where they're gonna pop out of.
Yeah,
and
totally.
it's so scary. I don't know. I like.
I love all of them in the movie theater too.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that was
It's like-
great. That was so good.
And they're like just like little like trickster demons. They get so much joy out of
Yeah,
it. It's so
but
fun.
they loved Snow White.
They
I
did.
love Snow
Love
White.
Snow
yeah.
White.
They did. Hi ho.
Yeah, that is so funny. And going back to you mentioned E.T., there were also some throwbacks to E.T. in this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's an E.T. doll in one of the scenes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I guess one of the gremlins actually says "phone home," which I think is hilarious.
And if like the town square,
Mhm.
I think is probably the same backlot that they use for Back to the Future.
Yes,
That's not in the trivia, I don't think.
I think so.
Is it?
actually.
I
There
don't
was
know.
something that
Yeah,
they
it
used
is.
for
It was
in the
used in like
trivia.
everything in the 80s.
The set for Kingston Falls is the same one used for
Yeah.
Back to the Future.
It's the back. I think it's the Universal backlot.
It is. Yep.
So that's always fun to see the same place. I mean, they just put snow on it, fake snow.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, it is neat to see just like Friends.
Mhm.
That is the same as Hocus Pocus.
Yep.
It's
What?
the background when Hocus Pocus when they think they've killed the witches the first time,
Mhm.
and they're like outside of this. I think it was the school is what it is.
Mhm.
Is also the same place the fountain scene takes place
Oh,
in
really?
the opening of Friends.
That's
like
cool.
in the credits and the
Yeah.
opening titles.
Yeah, and then there's I forget which movie it was, but I mean I've never watched Friends.
You never watched Friends?
No.
Okay. Well, I've watched.
I couldn't get into it.
I think I've watched Friends too many times. I'm just gonna keep it to myself.
But there's also like another scene in Hocus Pocus in the house, but I forget the movie it was used in again, the same interior shots, and it was like something completely different. And it's just cool to see things like that, like you said.
I also like. I mean, Phoebe Cates is in this, and she's like an '80s.
Oh yeah,
Right. That
total crushed on her.
Yeah.
Well, I got this Stranger Things shirt yesterday, and it just reminds me of there is in Stranger Things. There's a moment where Dustin's talking about his girlfriend that he met at camp that no one believes is a real person.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And he's like, she's hotter than Phoebe Cates.
Yeah.
And like all the boys are like, no one's hotter
No,
than Phoebe
pretty much
Cates.
no.
Right.
Between like Fast Times and this, it's like, no.
Yeah, she was definitely like a
She was
female
a thing.
heartthrob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call that, but
Well, everybody, I don't know. Everybody remembers Fast Times.
Yeah.
yeah.
Remembers her in Fast Times.
Oh yeah. But I mean this one to me was just so much fun and it took me by surprise, which was good.
Mhm.
It wasn't one liner basically.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a straight
And I mean,
line,
like, I
which
really-
like you said would be what it was today probably because they wouldn't risk anything.
I don't know. Would this movie be PG today? Do we?
I mean,
think?
it'd be PG. I mean, this would be PG-13. This
Yeah,
is one of the
this
ones that
is-
was like this and Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Is what made PG-13.
I mean, Temple of Doom was definitely like that. Was like, okay,
right.
this is too much.
Because it
but,
wasn't.
like
it
these
wasn't
both came out in
PG-13
the same
when it came out,
year.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But then in '85 they
They
put in
created
the PG-13, and Red Dawn was the first movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, this one's definitely like it's not as intense as Temple of Doom.
Right.
Nobody's getting hurt. I mean, like most of all the gore and violence is
No one's heart's coming out in this.
is to the Gremlins. Like they're melted,
Right.
thrown in the microwave, or
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, it definitely would get PG-13.
yeah, just because of the gore.
Right.
But man, we had it good in the '80s. This and
Yeah.
Ghostbusters came out in the same day.
Yeah. That's wild.
I like.
I didn't know that.
Gremlins.
Yeah, I didn't either until I was looking through here, and I was like, wow, that was a good day.
Yep, that was a good day for movies,
Yeah.
especially like slightly spooky movies. I don't know. I love a
Yeah.
spooky Christmas movie. That's my vibe. I like Krampus. I like this. I
Krampus
like
is
Rare Exports. I'm a big fan of A Christmas Horror Story, which is like anthology. I like Jack Frost. I like a creepy.
We did that one,
Christmas
didn't we?
movie.
We
Yeah.
did Jack Frost and Jack Frost, and I just saw a post on like Facebook or something the other day. It was like, warning, make sure you get the right Jack Frost, but they were saying both were horrible, and I was like, what?
No.
No, I mean they're both traditionally horrible movies.
Right,
But-
yeah. But
To be
But
fair-
one's a lot of fun.
right.
To be fair,
They
if
were
you're
like,
not
one is scary, and I was like, whatever.
Is it
was
really
so good.
scary?
is it really
So good.
scary? It's and I see if you've sat down with your family to watch the nice like Dad's Spirit Comes Back for Christmas,
Right,
Jack Frost,
exactly. If
and
you go-
instead you get the shower scene with the carrot Jack Frost.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not what you want.
Well, but I do feel like
still-
you can definitely tell the difference in the photos on the box.
Yeah, I mean the Michael Keaton Jack Frost is still creepier than the one that's in Jack Frost.
It is creepy in a way,
Like
yeah.
that.
The suit is creepier.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I mean we don't know we talked about that.
Yeah, I'm sure we did.
Rewind to whoa, was that like
2
2
years
years
ago.
ago?
Yeah, go
Yeah.
watch our Jack Frost episode.
Last year
2
was
years
Black.
ago. We had a good time.
Was
our
the Black Christmas
episode.
triple
Triple feature.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's
Uh-huh.
right.
That was fun
That was
Was
fun.
for a third of it.
For a third. Only the original was fun.
Yeah.
But no, like Jack, yeah. So like I love a Christmas horror movie, and Gremlins is probably the reason I love a Christmas horror movie.
Yeah.
Is
It's
that
one-
Gremlins?
it is a staple.
Gremlins is what I watched as a little kid, and I adored, and I think it really shaped my love for if we can get some spooky Christmas in here, that would be
Yeah.
ideal.
So speaking of like Gremlins knockoffs, did anybody
Critters?
Critters is the I like Critters more than Gremlins.
I like Critters a lot. Critters is a legit horror
First-
movie, though.
First
It's
one,
not
second
this.
one's a lot of fun too, but definitely that first one. Have you ever seen Critters?
Mm-mm.
Oh my god,
At least
You'd
not that
like-
I know of.
You'd like
you would love
Critters.
it.
yeah.
You
You'd
would
like
love
Critters.
it. Really, it's a lot of fun. It's like that one is PG-13. I think it came out like a year
Yeah.
or two after.
I was like, Critters is a little bit more adult than Gremlins, but it's
Yeah.
fun.
Some speaking of off-brand Gremlins, when we were growing up, I did have like a rubber gremlin toy.
Mm-hmm.
It was really
Do
cool.
you have a Gremlin or do you have a Mogwai?
A gremlin.
It was green.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it also reminds me of this little like stuffed animal thing. I think it was supposed to be like a mouse, but it kind of looked like a gremlin that my grandma had that like all the grandkids would like wanted.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it was just like this little gray thing, and like I said, I think it was supposed to be a mouse, but it ended up looking more like a gremlin.
Mhm.
And that was, I don't know, I just remember that vividly, and for some reason in my head it was a gremlin, but it wasn't. It was supposed to be like a mouse or something.
Child Tobey absolutely wanted a Mogwai with no regard for the potential outcome of
Oh,
Gremlins.
yeah.
Like I wanted
one?
a gizmo so bad.
I
Yeah.
still do. I think.
I think I still do. I liked his little song. He was so cute and fluffy. He's so cute. I was like, desperately needed one.
But I guess that kind of brings us to the end of our holiday episode this year.
Yeah.
But I definitely give this one 2 thumbs up. I loved
Yeah.
it.
2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2
That
thumbs up.
is 6 thumbs up.
That is 6 thumbs up.
And you need to watch Critters.
If I had extra
Okay,
thumbs, I'd
I
throw
will
them up
check
there
that
too.
out.
I love Gremlins.
Yeah, it was so fun. So I guess now we're going to go back to our regular format, and
movie.
we will need to generate a new movie for next time.
Okay.
So if you want to, there it is.
Generator.
Who wants to pick?
I haven't gone in a bit. I want to do.
Pick an Aaron movie.
If I do, I'm putting it back.
We're going to light it on fire.
Ooh, this has got to be Josh's.
Oh.
Ravenous, 1999.
Oh, yeah.
I've not seen this one.
Perfect January movie.
Okay, I don't even know what it is.
Oh.
I don't either.
The
I'm
Civil
excited.
War cannibal movie.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Okay.
So much. Have you? Oh, you
I've
never
not seen it.
Oh, you guys are in store.
Is it long?
No, it's very short. I don't even think it's 90 minutes. There's no way you're not going to like this movie.
Okay.
It's got David Arquette for one thing.
Nice.
Nice.
Super. It's like bleak but funny, and it's got satirical elements, and it's gory, and it's
sounding great.
It's so much fun. Great score too. Very unorthodox, like unusual score.
Cool.
I love this movie. I have been championing it since 1999. It turns 25 years old.
Oh yeah.
I think it's 1999.
It is. It says 1999 on your
Yeah.
thing, so
That
I
says
assume that you
25
have
this
that right.
year.
Yeah, great movie. I'm really excited. We have the Blu-ray here.
And it's called Ravenous
Ravenous.
from 99.
Yeah, it's got Guy Pearce, Robert Carlyle,
Okay.
David Arquette. But yeah, it's a great supporting cast. Great movie,
Cool.
and I'm excited.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Excited.
You got real excited. So
No,
that
I was
made-
like,
but
it's like one of
instantly
those.
made me excited.
It's one of those that like,
Oh, I hope I like it.
if you've seen it,
Yeah.
and if you like horror movies or you like just something that's different,
Yeah.
you're gonna love it. But not a lot of people have seen it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It came out and it was like huge flop. Like it
Yeah.
just came and went. Like
I always like a new horror movie I've not seen,
Yeah.
so I'm stoked.
and
Yeah.
watching this in January is perfect because I mean it's all like there's a blizzard and there's snowed in.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah, sounds good.
a
I
great-
really hope I like this one. It's
very Donner
already got me
Party.
excited
very
about it.
very
vibes,
Donner
right?
Party. Like they're all
Yeah.
like
yeah.
Civil War soldiers. They're trapped in this encampment. You know.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
Excuse the people eating fun.
So all
Well,
right.
that's great.
Yeah.
So next time, join us. We will discuss Josh's pick, Ravenous,
Ravenous.
from '99. But until then, I'm Aaron,
I'm Josh.
I'm Tobey.
and this has been The Real Opposites.